Well, welcome. Thank you for coming today. This is a very exciting program, and these are exciting times for indigent defense in Texas. The task force just issued the largest grants that it's ever issued in the 9 years we've been in operation. The largest city in the United States that did not have a public defender's office will soon, and interviewed just recently for the chief public defender. A region of rural counties that had the lowest appointment rate in misdemeanor cases has now a public defender and the institutional presence that'll make sure that they do better than they have done. And those are just two examples of all the things that are going on that many of you are aware of because you're involved in. On an administrative matter, I want to personally thank each of you for coming today and for submitting for your indigent defense plans. I know that it was not that easy to do, but now that you've submitted your plans under the new format, it will be easier from here on out. And I hope that we can get the legislation changed so that you don't have to submit them every 2 years and you can just submit changes as they're made. I want to thank everyone who traveled here to attend and the presenters from across the state and the country for helping us offer a training that I know is going to be really excellent. Terry has done her usual fantastic job of bringing you together and putting together a program, as has the rest of the staff. For those of you who haven't met the task force staff, I hope you get a chance to today. They are just incomparable. They really are. They're fabulous, and I feel very lucky to get to work with them. I want to take a minute to tell you about something that you may or may not be aware of. The legislature instituted the Office of Capital Writs during the last session, and Brad Levinson is here somewhere in the back. He's the director. For those of you who don't know, the Office of Capital Writs was established to provide representation in death penalty cases on state habeas corpus. It used to be that your judges would appoint counsel. Now, if you have a death penalty case in your county, you should call the office, Brad Levinson, and an attorney from his office will represent the defendant. The other thing y'all need to know about this is that means it doesn't cost you anything. You get a lawyer through the Office of Capital Writs that's paid for by the legislature instead of by your county. So we're trying to get the word out. If y'all didn't know that and know people who might have death penalty cases in their county, please spread the word. And you can call Brad or talk to him today if you have any questions. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mary Ann Wiley, Deputy General Counsel for Governor Rick Perry. Mary Ann is a friend of the task force, always has been. She cares about indigent defense, and she has been very helpful to us over the past many years, including being a member of my mental health task force, which was instituted a few years ago. In addition to her public service in state government, she has served in all three branches. She also was an accomplished prosecutor and criminal defense lawyer. Please welcome Mary Ann Wiley. Thank you.
As Judge Keller told you, where I work, and I'm actually here to introduce my boss. This is nothing to do with what's happening next week. Promise. As the judge was telling you, I have tried to work with the Task Force on Indigent Defense in creation and ongoing. And it's not just something that I like to do. Needless to say, since I do work for the governor, my pursuits are also his. And some people may find that remarkable in the idea of, being tough on crime and, we have to be stern and we have to make sure that the criminals, be they the worst of the worst or the stupid fools, and you all know what I'm talking about there too, know the consequences. And he has, because of other duties that he has besides just being the guy you see on TV and the executive branch, he also deals with clemency issues. And that includes clemency issues in death penalty cases. And when you're sitting there kind of as the final piece, if the case is out of the courts at that time, it's essential that what I call and he calls the taint fair rule hasn't been violated. And I think all of us, I don't care if you're a lawyer or not a lawyer or law enforcement, the taint fair rule, I think, is something that we all kind of live our lives by. So it is really essential that people get the representation that is needed for their situation. And in that, I'm talking about somebody that is going to be trying a death penalty case needs to have more experience than the person that may be representing somebody on a, I'll call it non-moral turpitude misdemeanor for these purposes. Yes, I am a lawyer, excuse me. But it's the death penalty, in a way, that got the governor really involved in quality counsel for all indigents. And just seeing, y'all have read the newspapers, some of what has gone on in the past, kind of now it's a joke. We talk about the sleeping lawyer. We talk about a lot of different pieces like that. And when you're sitting there getting ready to make a decision that is life or death, and just ask some of the jurors that say serve in these cases too, you want to know that justice is what happened. And that is somebody got adequate representation. Our prosecutors do a damn good job, excuse me, I cuss a bit, of, I really do a whole lot more, but I'll keep it low level today. We've got very good prosecutors, a lot of them professional prosecutors. And that kind of leads me into the next piece of, in the beginning, we need standards that people must live up to represent certain levels of cases. And now that has moved into kind of a new era, I believe, for indigent defense, and that's the public defender. And I don't care if it's capital writs or if it's, Jack, I think, is going to be back this afternoon, but the capital trial public defenders in West Texas and now South Texas, making sure that people know what they're doing. As an ex-prosecutor, I have tried both, well, I should say as an attorney, I've tried both as a defense attorney and a prosecutor a death penalty case. And it's a little different, folks, than if you're prosecuting somebody on a criminal mischief. And that's the expertise you've got to have there. But the person that has been charged with the criminal mischief, or sometimes even low-level intoxication offenses, what we'll call petty assaults, they deserve excellent representation too, because of the effects that some of these, what we call petty crimes, will have on their futures. And that is, you get convicted of certain low-level misdemeanors, and you're going to get affected in what kind of employment you can have, whether or not you can own a gun, and that even includes people in the military on some of these offenses, that it takes away certain rights that, like I was telling you earlier, people commit stupid crimes too. We have got some real bad guys out there. I am not trying to dismiss that. But this adequate representation, more than adequate, has got to go through the whole spectrum. And I think it's marvelous that a person can be for putting away criminals and for justice at the same time. In fact, the first part of the Code of Criminal Procedure says the duties are to seek justice. It doesn't say to seek convictions. So kind of think about all this. As it's costing you a lot of money, as it's frustrating to try to get the balance out there, it's frustrating that the state kind of tells you what to do. I do think these task force staff people try to make that as malleable as possible and are trying to be helpful. The budget cuts that I think everybody is going to see this session, I realize that most of you are also from other levels of government, and you're suffering that same thing on a local level. So the state may be cutting some of the funds you get from the state and you're having to look for ways to work with your newly limited resources. Just keep talking to them about it. Make sure they are aware. Try to see how you can come up with new ideas that will save you money. Keeping your jail cleaned out because you are moving cases helps on budget saving. Some of the alternative punishments that we are now seeing have a lower cost than incarceration. You're seeing that on the state level as well. No, we're not closing prisons. But there has been a tide change in what we need to do besides just locking people up. Are we ready? Okay. Now, I want you to hear what my boss has to say about this group. And I think you'll see that he's kind of part of you on all this stuff. Thank you for your time.
Howdy, I'm Rick Perry, and I'd like to thank you for your important contributions to the pursuit of justice in Texas and the credibility of our court system. Over the past 9 years, the Texas Task Force on Indigent Defense has helped Texas honor our commitment to ensuring equal access to due process regardless of an individual's economic or social status. Since I signed the Fair Defense Act into law in 2001, Texas has doubled the number of public defenders' offices. These offices provide quality, effective counsel to defendants who otherwise might go underrepresented. Thanks to the hard work of your board and communities across Texas, our courts are working smarter and more efficiently, making it harder for the wrongfully accused to be convicted and tougher for the guilty to roam free. I commend everyone involved in these efforts and urge you to take advantage of your time together to strengthen your relationships, start new conversations about the big issues, and continue your forward motion in pursuit of justice. You represent some of the brightest minds in Texas criminal law, and you're united in a worthy cause. Working together, let's continue in our tireless pursuit of justice for all Texans. God bless you. And through you, may He continue to bless the great state of Texas.